Okay, picture this. Me, hair did, outfit on point, butterflies doing the electric slide in my stomach. It was date night, people. And not just any date. This was with Navy Boy, aka the guy with the dreamy eyes I'd been chatting up online. He seemed sweet, funny, and totally my type. I had high hopes. Maybe too high. We were going to the movies, classic first date, right? But Navy Boy, oh Navy Boy, he wanted to make a grand entrance. He messaged saying he was picking me up in something special. My mind immediately went to a vintage Mustang, maybe even a cute Fiat. You know, something with a little personality. I waited, practically vibrating with excitement. And then it pulled up. A bright, I'm talking blindingly bright yellow Camaro. I'm talking Bumblebee on wheels bright. And was that a scratch on the bumper already? Interesting. But hey, I'm all about giving a guy a chance, even if his taste in cars screams midlife crisis. Plus, Navy Boy looked so proud behind the wheel, like he was auditioning for a Fast and Furious reboot. I plastered on a smile and hopped in, ignoring the nagging feeling that this date might be a wild ride. So, remember that scratch I mentioned? Yeah, turns out that wasn't factory-installed character. As we zoomed, and I do mean zoomed, this car was basically a rocket ship on wheels, toward the movie theater, Navy Boy decided to show off his, shall we say, unique parking skills, or lack thereof. We pulled into the parking garage, which was already a tight squeeze for a car that felt like it was designed for a racetrack. I held my breath as Navy Boy whipped the Camaro around a corner, narrowly missing a minivan. Phew, close call, or so I thought. Crunch. We both froze. I looked out the window, and there it was, a brand new, pearly white sedan, now adorned with a lovely yellow racing stripe courtesy of Navy Boy's questionable driving. My jaw dropped. I looked at him, expecting apologies, maybe a plan to leave a note. Instead, he just shrugged, chuckled nervously, and said, "Oops, that's gonna leave a mark." And then, he just drove off like nothing happened. Okay, maybe the parking lot incident was a fluke, right? Maybe Navy Boy was just a little overzealous with his driving. I tried to put it out of my mind as we finally found a legal, thank goodness, parking spot and headed into the theater. But as we were walking in, I noticed something. Those weren't his keys. Dangling from the Navy Boy's belt loop was a keychain shaped like a pink rubber ducky. Not exactly the kind of keychain a tough guy driving a borrowed sports car would rock, you know? I bit my tongue, choosing to focus on the movie ahead. We got our popcorn, extra butter always, and found our seats. Just as we were settling in, a dad with a little girl, maybe 2 years old, came down the aisle. The only problem? Navy Boy had his feet stretched out, blocking their way. "Excuse me," the dad said politely. Navy Boy just grunted and shifted slightly, but his feet remained firmly planted in the aisle. The poor dad had to practically contort himself and his daughter into pretzel shapes to squeeze past. I cringed, mortified. And that's when it hit me. The Camaro, the parking lot debacle, the blatant rudeness, it was all part of some weird facade. Maybe Navy Boy was trying to impress me. Or maybe he was just trying to be someone he wasn't. Either way, it was not working. The rest of the date was a blur of awkward silences, forced smiles, and me mentally planning my escape route. When he finally dropped me off, thankfully without any further vehicular incidents, I practically leaped out of the Camaro, eager to get as far away from the disastrous date as possible. As I watched the Bumblebee on wheels disappear into the night, I realized something. It wasn't just the car, the parking lot, or the movie theater. It was the fact that Navy Boy had shown me exactly who he was. A guy who cared more about appearances than being a decent human being. And that, my friends, was a deal breaker. So, Navy Boy, if you're reading this, I had a truly terrible time. But you know what? That near-miss collision in the parking garage, it actually made my week. Call me crazy, but there's something kind of hilarious about a guy who tries so hard to impress and ends up crashing and burning, almost literally. So how about a second date? But this time, let's ditch the Camaro and go for a nice, relaxing walk in the park, and maybe leave the pink rubber ducky keychain at home.